Welcome to the Caravan Show, where we discuss all things caravans. That's right, everything you need to know about caravans, from weight, towing, maintenance, appliances, renovations, buying a caravan, repairs, destinations and reviews. We'll also chat with some Aussie legends, manufacturers, suppliers and of course, people who love caravans. Take it away, Roy.
G'day everyone, it's Roy here from the Caravan Show. Joining me this morning is Graeme and Kerryn from the West Arthur Shire in Western Australia. You there?
Morning, Roy.
G'day, how you doing? So, as I understand it, Kerryn, you're the manager for projects in the tourism side of it, and Graeme, you're a councillor there, but you also are the lakeside camping owner. Is that correct?
Yes, spot on.
So, tell me a little bit about yourselves, if you don't mind. Kerryn, how long have you been in that position?
I've worked in this position on and off for 10 to 15 years. I actually grew up in West Arthur and went away and worked in Perth, and then the draw of this area has brought me back here, and so after having years away, I've come back to my hometown and now work for the council in tourism.
So you should know all about what's happening in the tourism side of West Arthur.
Yes.
All right, well, we'll come back and we'll ask you a few questions about that shortly, if you don't mind. Graeme, you're a councillor there. How long have you been on the council?
This is my first term, actually, so it's very exciting for me to recently come back to the community and and be a part of the council and have some really exciting projects and it's a really exciting time for the Shire and myself. So yeah.
So are you a local? Have you been there long?
Yes, I was born here and schooled here, and then went away for a few years and forged a bit of a career away from the community, and then just recently came back with my family. So back to the family farm and our caravan park. So just back in the last sort of 3 to 4 years.
Good stuff.
Roy, the area has a big draw of people who come back here. It's there's a lot of us that go away and work away, and then we come back here because it's such a nice area.
So we talk about the area, but where exactly is West Arthur?
So West Arthur is south of Perth. It is a very, very unknown area. It's if you imagine Perth, we're 2.5 hours south, and we're about an hour and a half inland from Bunbury. We're about 2 hours north of Albany. So we're not very far from anywhere, but you can feel like you're a long way from everywhere, which is fantastic. We
had a chat with Albany the other day, actually, which was rather good, and excited about just how much there is. One of the things we're saying to our listeners is, you don't need to go overseas to find all these magnificent things. In fact, there's a lot on our doorstep, and in a lot of cases, these places aren't that far out of the cities. And as you just said, what was it, 2.5 hours out of Perth?
Yeah, only 2.5 hours out of Perth. Darkin itself is only 2 hours out of Perth. But it's at the northern part of the Shire, and that's our main administrative centre. But some of the attractions are further south than that, so we're about 2.5 hours, which is, it's a very easy day trip, actually.
Yeah, and this is the point that we're trying to make to our listeners. You can do day trips at the moment with the COVID-19 going on. A lot of us are still restricted in our states, and I know Western Australia's been very hard and fast on keeping their borders closed, and quite frankly, for what it's worth, I agree with them. I think it's a good move, protecting your people that way. But it means that those that are in Western Australia right now should actually be looking around and saying, well, what is there internally? We don't need to travel all over to the eastern states or the southern states. There's actually a lot to see in our own state. It's a massive state, and we know that people tend to jump in and think they need to travel so far, but they don't have to. You're around the corner.
Absolutely.
So
and there's so much to see just around the corner.
Yeah. So how well do you guys cater for the caravan? Have you got caravan parks in your region?
Yes. We have one in Darkin, which is right very close to town. You can actually walk into town from the caravan park, and I'll let Graeme talk about the lakeside camping.
Sorry, do you have free camping as well in that area?
No, we don't have free camping, but the council policy has always been to keep everything low cost, so that people are encouraged to stay here with or without the free camping.
Right. Okay. So sorry, Graeme, I interrupted you then.
We do actually have another caravan park, and that's at Lakeside, which Graeme actually runs that caravan park.
Right. Okay. So Graeme, you're the man. My apologies for cutting you short there.
No, that's no worries at all. So yeah, we have a caravan park on the shores of Lake Kerryn, and specifically large sites, powered sites for easy access for caravanners and long stay vans and things like that. So it's a really easy access. It's a fantastic view over the lake, and just basic sort of caravan park amenities that make your stay quite enjoyable. So we do have a lot of travellers coming through and utilising those services.
So how big is the park? How many caravans would you get in there?
So our sites have been created around the family groups for water skiing and things like that. So they are quite large sites. The sites are 25 to 30 metres wide, so you can fit 2 to 3 caravans on there, so people can back in and open up their awnings and be right next to each other. So there's 14 powered sites along the lakefront, and then we do have overflow area behind the lake, more sort of rural camping, and also unpowered overflow sites as well.
Yeah, this is one of the issues that in recent times caravans have gotten bigger and bigger, and our listeners are finding that there are times when they simply can't get in to the caravan park. So clearly that's not a problem over at Lakeside.
No, not at all. You can, we've had the big fifth wheel semi-style caravans come through, and buses, and there's no worries about trying to squeeze into a little 5 or 10 metre site there. So it's almost farm style camping. They're huge.
So tell me a little bit more about the lake. What can you do? Can you fish? Can you boat? Tell us about it.
So the lake itself is very rural. It's around our farm. Any water sport activity there, from kayaking, canoeing, swimming, sailing, water skiing. There's a vast array of birds there, so we get a lot of bird watchers coming down and enjoying it. So that's a really great opportunity, morning and evenings, to get out and about. Walking around the lake itself and the surrounding swamp areas and things like that. So plenty of activities both winter and summer to keep you going, and obviously the photo opportunities that come along with that, and really being able to relax right in front of the water with a campfire.
You sound like a highly motivated man, Graeme. So tell me, what are your plans for the future there?
Well, I am motivated, but we really want to keep it a rural sort of feeling caravan park. It's we're not really looking to expand or anything like that. We're just looking to invest in the future in the way of maintaining services and infrastructure, and as well as putting a lot of time and effort into rejuvenation of the area with land care and things like that. So that's our really driving passion at the moment, around land care and getting the right people and keeping our services in really good condition. So we're not looking at expanding or changing really the feeling of the park. We're just continuing to make sure we have the right feeling and the right people come through.
So sorry, is there fishing in the lake, or did I miss that?
Oh no, sorry, there's no fish in the lake, unfortunately. It's something that I'd love to see in the future. So it'd be another great pastime. But there is fishing quite close by in some of the areas around, but not specifically.
So there is fishing in West Arthur, but not in your specific lake at this moment in time.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm a caravanner. I'm at your park, and I want to get things like groceries and so forth, or more importantly, a gas. Gas seems to be an issue, being able to get gas supply for some of these places.
Oh, gas supply is easy here. We've got a number of small towns around our shire, and one which is not very far from the lake is Duranillan. And Duranillan has got a small store there which has gas, dry goods, hardware type store. Darkin itself has got a proper supermarket where you can get fruit and veg and milk. We don't have any large Coles or Woolworths here. The closest for those shops is Collie and Narrogin, but gas is very easy, available in Darkin and in Jurranellan.
So it sounds very idyllic. We're not talking about a huge amount of people there, so you must have a relatively small population in your area.
Yes, the Shire itself has only got 900 people in it.
Wow.
Darkin, the town, has got 200. So we're a very small area, very unpopulated, and a really nice area to be able to find your own solitude. So
pristine areas like yours invariably don't suffer things like light pollution. In fact, you don't suffer pollution too badly at all, do you?
No, not at all. Light pollution, one of the things that we're currently advertising quite heavily at the moment is our Astro Tourism. We're part of the Astro Tourism WA network. So we are classified as an Astro town. We have very little light pollution. You possibly don't get darker skies anywhere else. They're just magnificent. And at the moment, the Milky Way is incredible. It's up very early in the night. It's about 8 o'clock at night. So you can get out, you can see the Milky Way with no light pollution, and the stars have just been spectacular.
You know, we've been talking a lot on this channel about history and histories of towns, and, you know, the fact that people go overseas and explore histories in other countries. In fact, we've got a lot of history here in Australia as well, and I'm sure there's some history in West Arthur. But when I think about history and I think about what you've just spoken about, the sky, our ancestors actually looked up, and what you're seeing today is what they saw, and yet most of us today look up and we don't see it unless we go to places like West Arthur to be able to do so. It's actually quite incredible that such a massive part of our lives is missing to what our ancestors saw, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that one of the things that we've noticed is when people come, we had people come and stay at New Year, and they went outside and they looked at the night sky. They were from Denmark in Europe, and they came, and the mother said to the children, "Come, you have to look at this. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity." And I thought, how lucky are we that this is not a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for us. This is every night for us.
Wow. Tell us more about West Arthur history, seeing as we're on that subject. Every place I've spoken to, they've had some sort of special history. What's the special history in West Arthur?
Oh, we actually have quite a lot. West Arthur is actually on the Albany highway route from Perth to Albany. So it was settled very early in probably the 1860s, I think, was when they first put policemen on at 125 Mile, which is now called Arthur River. And they that was when they were developing the road from Perth to Albany. And then our shire actually developed from Arthur River, and people spread further towards Darkin, west towards Darkin. So Arthur River, we've got some beautiful old buildings there that were built in the 1880s. And we've actually just recently, and hopefully in the next week or so, we'll be releasing a history trail on an app called Izzy Travel, IZI.travel. And you can search that, and you'll find we've got a heritage tour on there which will take you through Arthur River into Darkin, where you can have a look at 6 Mile Cottage, which is an old timber slab cottage. You can wander inside there. All of this is free. And then you can travel down through Jurranellan and see an old one-room school, and down to the lake to see the jetties that were built in the 1960s, the only jetties on inland lakes in WA. And then you can head to Moody Hall and see an old timber hall on the banks of the Arthur River that was built in 1920s, and head back to Arthur River and down the Albany Highway if you choose to. But that is all on an app that you can have a look at before you get here, along with an Astro tour on that same app.
Yeah, funny that you mentioned Izzy, because we had Izzy die on the podcast the other day. And I guess it's not being named after Izzy Dye.
No, I think it's been developed in Europe, the app. It's just a travel app that you can use anywhere, but we've just developed some of these trails and put them on there, and it means people can have a listen to it and plan their travels when they get before they get here.
How important is tourism to your local infrastructure?
Well, actually, tourism's a fairly new thing in the Shire. I mean, we've had the caravan park at the lake for many, many years, but the Astro Tourism is a fairly new venture. We've only just ventured into that in the last couple of years. And bringing people into our region has, we've always been a pretty self-sufficient region. We've been agriculture-based, but farms are getting bigger. So our population is constantly under pressure. It's constantly getting smaller. So we're looking to bring people into the region and show off what we believe is one of the best places in WA.
Beautiful. So one of the questions I love to ask, because I love putting people on the spot. So this is either you or Graeme. Well, actually, probably both of you. You know, we can find out information about some of the things you've talked about via the internet, Google in particular, which seems to be a popular way of discovering information today. But the locals have always got their own little secrets. So, you know, I'm wondering if you guys would share a couple of secrets of things that you can see or do in your area that's not generally known, you know, by Googling. Tough one?
Yeah, so I can. One of the things I would say is you have a coffee in one of the coffee shops in town and have a chat to some of the locals there. We have one particular coffee shop in town where if you sit and have a chat, you'll find out all sorts of bits and pieces, and they'll be able to direct you to different places. If people are interested in Astro Tourism, if someone wanted to get in contact with me, I might be able to show them one or two secret spots that are not on the map.
So what's this coffee shop? Sorry, I'm sitting here thinking which one is it, you know?
Well, there's not too many coffee shops in Darkin, but it's called Rare Bits on Burrows, and it's a little bit of an eclectic coffee shop that it's a bookshop, it's a second-hand shop with bits and pieces, it's a coffee shop, and a couple of local people run that shop, and they'll be able to tell you all sorts of bits and pieces.
Yeah, it's always good to get some local info off the locals. So, Graeme, come on, it's your turn.
Well, gee, I don't know about this, but I'll put it out there. I think the Arthur River, which flows into the Blackwood, it is an amazing river system that starts way out in the wheat belt there. And yeah, I quite often grab my young 5-year-old son and we walk along the banks of the Arthur River and find a little spot to camp on a private lake there. But you can access the river by canoe and from the Moody Hall there. And just canoe up an absolute pristine little river. It's nice and just wide enough to be to paddle up, and it's just fantastic. There's wildlife, and you come along around a corner, and you just don't know what's around there the next corner. So we sneak up and down that, and it's just fantastic. Morning and afternoons are just amazing, and you can have a look at the old bridges and some of the wildlife there. It's fantastic. So that'd be my pick for the area.
Can you hire canoes? Is there somewhere you can hire canoes there? Or
I've got canoes down the lake there, yeah. So we get quite a few people who grab canoes or kayaks and head down there, and a lot of people obviously with their own. We point them in that direction as well. So makes a full day of kayaking if you're interested. Go around the lake and the swamps, and then head down to the river and up and down the Arthur River there. It's it's fantastic.
Is there a time of year that West Arthur's best to visit?
Well, any time really. I mean, each season's got its own advantages. In summer, the lake is amazing for swimming and skiing and water sports. Our evenings in summer are beautiful and cool. We don't have many nights where it's still stinking hot at night, so it's quite a relief from the heat of the day. Autumn to spring, the skies are amazing, and late winter brings all the wildflowers. We've got quite a lot of nature reserves, which we're hoping to develop a wildflower trail over the next few months. So, and your canola crops look spectacular in springtime with all their bright yellow flowers. Winter and spring, it's lovely to walk along the rail trail. We've got this long rail trail that you can walk from Darkin to Buckingham, just near Collie, and that you can walk, horse ride along there. Wildflowers along there during spring are beautiful as well.
What about local produce?
local produce. We're largely a large broadacre farming area, which is sheep, canola, barley, oats and wheat is probably our mainstay. So we don't actually have a lot of your small, your foodie type produce. However, this sort of region leads itself towards the Great Southern, which does have a large foodie culture down there and a lot more intensive agriculture. So, you sort of be in this area, not so much specific produce like that.
Okay. And markets?
We have a small community market that happens I think it's the second Sunday of the month, starting at about 9:30. Anyone's welcome to have a stall. So you do often get some little bits and pieces there, produce there that people, who've got a veggie patch who may have excess produce will sell that there, and occasionally you get people making jams there, but not as specific businesses, just local people doing that. And that's anyone's welcome to come along. Anyone's welcome to have a stall.
So Kerryn, sorry, Kerryn.
Yes?
What's the major advantage of being in such a small town?
The advantage, everybody knows everyone, which can, a lot of people might say that's a disadvantage, but everybody's part of the community. And I think this COVID pandemic has really shown how a community can band together. There were businesses in town who were struggling, obviously, particularly the food businesses. And so the local community, I've never seen so many people buying takeaway pizza or takeaway curries from the cafes. And I've never eaten as much takeaway as I did during COVID, just to keep those businesses going. And that, I guess that's what I love about this town, is how people come together. And it's such a friendly community. When I say go and sit at the coffee shop, you'll sit at the coffee shop and the person at the next table will say, oh, by the way, have you been out and done this, or have you seen that, and this is happening, and so on and so forth. So it's a sort of town, it's an old-fashioned town, I guess, in that our kids, when you go down to the local sports club, you get out of your car and you say, well, we'll see you at the end of the night, kids, and they go off and you go off and everybody's safe. It's very safe. It's very friendly town.
Yeah, safe, friendly and informative too, by the sounds of it.
Welcoming.
What other special qualities do you think surrounds that whole West Arthur? I mean, we've got a small community. It's unspoilt. It's pristine. It's up and coming. I'm assuming from this conversation we've got low crime rates, but there is still a need and a desire to start inviting more and more tourists into your area.
Yeah, exactly. And that's there's a large focus within the Shire and the council to have projects going forward, and it's reflected in our community engagement and also in the budget going forward as well. It really is a big shift change from that really the farming orientated thing of the Shire, which is sort of pushed through from the 1900s to now. It's really heading in the right direction. So there's a big focus on that, and the opportunities are far and wide. There's some fantastic ideas out there coming back from the community and people to what we need to do as a Shire and an area to continue to grow, just the opportunities that we have in our own Shire are fantastic, and tapping in the best way to maximise that for people coming outside in and enjoying their stay and extending their stay and really taking 3 or 4 days to have a look at everything we have to offer. So that's happening going forward, and it's been really supported well from state government as well, and obviously with people like Kerryn on board, driving things in the right direction. So it's exciting times for the Shire and the community, and really hope to link into some other fantastic areas close by, like Albany and Ferguson Valley and places like that people go, well, we'll go back there on the way down to there. So and really draw people back to.
And actually, that was going to be one of my questions. How long do people tend to stay when they come into our area? Which I guess you've answered there, that you are getting there for 3 or 4 days. So if they're travelling through from Perth, you can stop off in West Arthur. You can stay there for days on end. You can go to Albany from there and stay there for 3 or 4 days. And actually, when you're way back, you can stay in West Arthur for another 3 or 4 days before heading back to the Big Smoke.
Oh, exactly. There's nothing worse than driving 4 hours or 5 hours with a caravan to get to Albany. So it's a perfect stop off. It's like a 2.5 hours in a caravan, and spend that 2 or 3 days, and you might be surprised. You might see 1 or 2 people, but you might spend a couple of days sitting on the beach at the lake or at the caravan park, and it's just a fantastic time. Instead of taking that big drive and just 2 or 3 days, you'll need that at least to check out the attractions around here. That's for sure.
Well, guys, it's been absolutely fantastic talking to you. So I've had Kerryn, Chia and Graeme Peirce on the other line, and they've been telling us about West Arthur. Guys, if you're travelling that area, please make a point of going and seeing them. Go and have a look at what they've got to offer. You have to spend a few nights looking at that night sky. And actually, I couldn't think of anything nicer than being on that lake in a canoe of an evening looking at that sky. That would just be absolutely fantastic. So, guys, thank you very much for taking your time and spending that and telling us all about your area today.
Thank you very much, Roy.
Thanks, Roy.
Cheers for now.